For the first time since Pep Guardiola set foot in the Premier League, Arsenal fans were saying something we've never heard before: we made Manchester City park the bus. Yes, you heard that right. Manchester City, the possession kings, the tiki-taka masters, the team that has suffocated England with 70% possession every week for nearly a decade, had the lowest possession rate of Pep's entire Premier League career against Arsenal. Now, I completely agree with Arsenal fans, it was historic. But here's the catch. Pep Guardiola isn't losing his style. No, he's doing something even scarier. Pep is evolving again. You see, Guardiola has already revolutionized English football once, when he brought Barcelona's modern passing game to the Premier League. But now? Slowly, quietly, and effectively, he's changing the game again. Because the Premier League has become tougher than ever, and Pep has realized one thing: beautiful football doesn't always guarantee results. And right now, Pep only cares about one thing: winning by any means necessary. Stick with me, because I'm going to break down exactly how Pep Guardiola is shifting his tactics, why he's becoming more pragmatic, and how this evolution might decide the next chapter of English football. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of my analysis. Let's rewind. Against Manchester United earlier this season, Pep pulled off something that shocked a lot of people. He didn't dominate the ball like he usually does. He didn't suffocate United in their half. Instead, he played counter-attack football. Yes, Pep Guardiola, the same man who built his reputation on endless possession, actually played on the break. United also came into that game with a plan to sit back and counter, but everything changed once City scored first. If you look at the stats from that game, the difference between the first half and the second half is remarkable. In the first half, City took the lead, and in the second half, Pep made a brave decision: he let Manchester United hold the ball. He trusted his shape, he trusted his plan, and he used one man to punish United: Erling Haaland. 2 goals. 2 lightning-fast counters. Game over. That was Guardiola showing the world that he doesn't need 70% possession to crush you anymore. Fast forward to Arsenal. This was the true test. Arsenal fans came away saying, "We dominated Pep. We had the ball, we controlled the game." And that's true, but only because Pep allowed it. Even in the first half, when the game was level, Guardiola gave Arsenal more possession than he ever would in the past. Then what did he do? He capitalized on a mistake, and once again, he used Haaland as the weapon. That's what makes this so fascinating. This isn't weakness. This isn't Pep losing control of his team. This is Pep adapting. He knows the Premier League has changed. He knows teams like Arsenal are good enough to fight for the ball. So instead of battling for pride, he focuses on results. Think about it. For years, City were the 70 possession team on average. They'd be 1-0 up, and they'd still play as if they were chasing the game. Even against weaker sides, when they were 5-0 up, Pep would go mad on the touchline if they missed a chance. That's how obsessed he was with total dominance. But last season changed everything. For the first time in a long time, Guardiola had one of his toughest seasons as City boss. He realized something: this league is not the same as when he arrived. Back then, if you played Bournemouth, Newcastle, or Aston Villa, you already had one hand on 3 points. Those teams respected the Big Six, and they didn't have the players to compete. Now? Every game is a battle. Every team are pushing for Champions League football. Newcastle are spending big. Brighton have some of the best young talents in Europe. Every single match in the Premier League now feels like a Champions League knockout tie. And here's the truth about football today: results matter more than ideology. If you don't get results, everyone questions your philosophy. Look at Manchester United. For the first time in years, they're creating more chances, they're even dominating possession against Arsenal and Manchester City, but because the results aren't coming, everyone questions the manager and the tactics. Liverpool too, this season, they haven't beaten anyone comfortably. Even with all the talent, even with the money spent, they're grinding games out. But do you know what matters? They're getting 3 points. That's the reality Pep has embraced. He's no longer obsessed with possession for possession's sake. He knows that football has evolved, and he has to evolve with it. If you think about it, this is exactly what Sir Alex Ferguson did at Manchester United. Ferguson didn't always play the most beautiful football. He wasn't obsessed with sticking to one philosophy. Instead, he was obsessed with winning. Sometimes United would go all-out attack. Other times they'd defend deep and hit on the break. Ferguson adapted every single game based on the opponent, and that's why he stayed at the top for so long. Guardiola is starting to take a page out of that book. Instead of trying to force the game to adapt to him, he's adapting to the game. That's why we're seeing a City side that can beat you in 1,000 different ways. So let's put it all together. Guardiola isn't losing his touch. He isn't abandoning his philosophy. What he's doing is much more dangerous. He's reinventing himself again. He knows the Premier League has become harder. He knows every team fights like it's a Champions League final. And he knows that in this environment, sticking stubbornly to one idea won't always work. So what's Pep's answer? Adapt. Evolve. Win by any means necessary. Whether it's counterattacks with Haaland, sitting deep against Arsenal, or dominating weaker teams like City usually did, Guardiola is showing that he can do it all. And if history tells us anything, whenever Pep reinvents himself, the rest of the league should be worried. Because while everyone else is chasing results, Pep Guardiola is already finding new ways to get them. And that's exactly why Pep Guardiola is still one of the most fascinating managers in football. Arsenal may have controlled possession, they may have pushed City back more than we've ever seen in the Guardiola era, but Pep showed us something different. He doesn't care about possession battles anymore, he only cares about results. And when you have Erling Haaland up front, sometimes all you need is one mistake, one counter, and one finish to change the game. But here's where we have to give credit, because Arsenal didn't crumble. In the past, when City scored first, that would be it, game over. But this Arsenal side is resilient. They kept pushing, they kept believing, and eventually, they found their equalizer. That goal wasn't just about quality, it was about mentality. And if Arsenal keep showing that kind of fight, they'll be in the title race right until the very end. What's fascinating is that both sides showed us something tonight. City showed us a new, more pragmatic version of Pep Guardiola, one who's adapting to the toughest Premier League we've ever seen. And Arsenal showed us they can go toe-to-toe with the very best, not just in terms of football, but in terms of mentality. So now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Guardiola is reinventing himself permanently, or is this just a short-term tactical switch? And what about Arsenal? Are they finally ready to dethrone City and take that Premier League crown? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I really want to know what you think. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to smash that like button, it really helps the channel grow. Subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you don't miss my next deep dive. We've got plenty more coming, tactical breakdowns, transfer news, and post-match analysis from across the league. Football is evolving. Pep is adapting. Arsenal are rising. And one thing is certain, this season is shaping up to be one of the most unpredictable and exciting we've ever seen.